Leana, fuck's going on? How you doing? Welcome.
I'm good. Thank you so much.
I know this was super short notice, but thank you for coming to do the show.
Absolutely. Yes, I think I actually heard about this just last night.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Had a last minute cancellation, as you know, these things happen. And started reaching out to publicists like, hey, had a last minute cancellation. You got anybody? And here we are. The magic of modern technology and the internet.
Absolutely. It always comes in at a good time.
Right? I'm just thrilled that you didn't have a shoot today or were able to make it.
Oh, I know. Things have been so busy.
Especially since you're coming in from Florida. I'm sure like people are just trying to gobble you up and just like, shoot.
Yeah, it's actually been very difficult because I'm being pulled between two places right now. Between Miami and LA, they both actually want me to move there. Because there's so many shoots that they can't all schedule me in at once. So now I am booked over a month ahead of time.
Well, shit, I am super honored then that you made it.
Yes, thank you.
So what are you thinking? Are you thinking about making the move to Miami or LA?
I am actually officially moving to Florida in the 2nd of February. That's very close.
Yeah, that's like a week or so out.
Yeah.
Are you excited about Florida?
I'm very excited about Florida. It's very sunny there. It's very warm. There's a lot more rain. For both the good and the bad, I guess.
I don't know how your politics lean, but you know, it's definitely an interesting state for
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, there's that. I don't really appreciate the politics, but for me it almost feels like I'm coming full circle going back to Florida. It was actually where I was born, and so it feels like I'm coming back to my hometown almost.
Very cool. And Florida, for you know whatever people want to say about it, does have a lot of stuff going on in it. Like outside the industry, there's still like a lot of opportunities there. I wouldn't want to live in Florida. I've definitely spent some time down there. Not my cup of tea. The humidity just, not about it. Plus, at least like Miami is more about like that club party life, and I'm more about like shitty dive bars and rock and roll, and it's not really Miami's scene.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. I mean, Reznor came from Florida, so.
Yeah, but he didn't stay there. I mean, to be fair, a lot of death metal came out of Tampa, but...
Exactly! Rock has such a good history with Florida.
But in the modern era, not much is coming out of there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. You get that one.
So are you a rock and roller? What are you into music-wise?
Absolutely. I listen to a little bit of everything. I know it seems very contradictory because I'm like... this 5', 100-pound little girl that's going around listening to death metal on her headphones. No one ever really expects it.
But that's awesome.
Absolutely. I grew up on Tool and Five Finger Death Punch, Nine Inch Nails. It's very odd.
I have a story for you when we're off air about some of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's more off air, but so what are you listening to now, though?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I mean, right now I'm listening to a lot of EDM. I started going back into Five Finger Death Punch recently. I think it just came with the times.
I
love listening to house. I'll actually listen to everything except for country.
Like no country whatsoever?
No country music.
Like not even Johnny Cash?
No, it's so funny. It's just, I actually used to live in the country. That was part of my history in Florida. I lived in like this towny area where it was just fields and acres of horses and crops and sheep. And at that point, I spent like 8 years there. And at some point, I was just, no, I'm never listening to country music again.
Just brings back old memories. It's like, no, I'm cool. I'm past that point in my life.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally get it. I totally understand. Like, there are definitely some, like, I can't listen to the Deftones Diamond Eyes album because it reminds me of like a shitty situation in life. Like that's just how music goes sometimes. Like you just get some emotional attachment to a song, good or bad, and it's just like, yeah, I don't want to revisit that.
Absolutely. You know, I really think that we go to music, to different genres, especially when we're at different points in our lives. And it's almost like when we transition into a new section of music, we're transitioning in another part of ourselves. And sometimes we look back on that music and we think, I really like that song, but I'm not sure I really want to go back into that space right now.
No, I totally get that. I totally get that. Like growing up as a kid, I was, an angry metalhead kid. If it wasn't metal, I wasn't listening to it back in the day. Like,
Absolutely.
I was a pissed off fucking teenager. These days, it's like, oh, my tastes are super eclectic. Still have a soft spot for the metal, of course, but
Of course. That never really goes away.
I hope not. My hearing will probably go first.
Oh, yeah.
So many shows back in the day of like, oh, I probably should have been wearing ear protection.
Oh, yeah. You know, I grew up so much around music, I would fall asleep in front of the stage, right next to the speakers. And I somehow have my hearing intact. Don't know how that worked out, but you know what? It's still going.
You're young. You're still immortal.
Oh, that's true.
What was your first show? I'm curious.
Oh my gosh. The first show that I can remember is something very cringy. It was my parents won a ticket to see the Barlow Girls, which was like a Christian edgy rocker girl concert. It was so bad. I mean, like, as a kid, I thought it was really cool because I grew up in like a mega church kind of scene. And then as I got older, I started getting like my own opinions and thoughts, and those changed very rapidly. And things like the Barlow Girls started to feel very, very cringy. And my next concert that I ever went to was Camelot, which is definitely it's an older alternative rock band, but it's really good.
I feel like I know the name and I'm unfamiliar with the music.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Again, older for you and older for me are possibly different things. I definitely had a guest on recently who referred to 80s hair metal as classic rock, and I'm like, oh God.
Oh no.
Like, I wasn't old enough to be like out on the Sunset Strip in those days, but still, it's like, I was definitely alive when that stuff was on MTV.
Yeah.
Fuck. In my mind, classic rock is still Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, getting old. So, growing up in a mega church and all that, like, when did you eventually, like, come to the realization that, like, hey, shouldn't just be blindly following this church? It sounds like, you made some choices for yourself.
Oh, yeah. So, that's a really good transition because I was born and raised actually in the mega church. My mom was like the lead soprano in the church. So I spent like every day there for years. And when I finally got into a high school, my parents decided it's time she went to a public school. And the instant that I got into public school was the instant that I realized the world was entirely different from what everyone else said that it was. And I started studying different religions and different beliefs as early as my freshman year. And that was sort of when everything started to change for me.
If you don't mind me asking, where do you lean in the religious spectrum these days?
I guess I would probably say that I'm closer to a Taoist than anything else.
What attracted you to Taoism?
Taoism was attractive to me in the essence of. I read this book known as the Tao of Pooh, which explains Taoism in the simplicity of Pooh Bear, which I thought was absolutely amusing, and somehow it explained it so perfectly and wonderfully that I realized that I needed to find my flow in life, and I needed to understand that there were certain paths that I was taking that weren't going in the direction of who I really was as a person. And that sort of really defined how I found the rest of myself in that journey.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think you were probably the first Taoist I've ever interviewed, or someone who's leaning towards Taoist. Personally, I'm an atheist, so I'm always
Absolutely.
curious where people end up on stuff, because it's amazing how many people don't really seem to grasp that, like, oh, where you were born geographically has a major influence on what religion you end up with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like, oh no, everyone's Christian. No. A lot of people are not Christian. A whole lot of people are not Christian.
Yeah, everyone just thinks that Christianity is the primary religion because it's sort of what we're very used to. I remember, when I was in grade school, it was all about, attendance to the flag. And then there was also the Christian flag at the end of that, in which we would do attendance for the Bible. And that was something that I realized other schools didn't have.
So, yeah, I've never heard of that in my life. What is that?
The Christian flag is a whole thing about your dedication to Jesus. It's wild. I'm gonna look it up right now. The Christian flag pledge. It's crazy.
Can you recite it for us?
I pledge allegiance to the Christian flag and to the Savior for whose kingdom it stands, one brotherhood uniting all Christians in service and in love. It's
At least it's short.
Yeah, it's short, but it's when I went to other schools, I realized that was just something that no one else did. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the product of public schools. I'd never even heard of that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so wild.
Oh, yeah. Private schools taught me so many things that I thought were just normal. Actually, one of the things that got me really curious about sex was actually something that they had there. And they had something that they called an abstinence concert. When we were of a certain age, they felt the need to talk about abstinence to us. And we all got these pewter rings. And I remember they brought out this gigantic wooden heart onto the stage. And they were like, this is love in all of its purity. And then all of a sudden, all the lights got dark. And all of a sudden, all the bodies hit the floor, started playing in the background, let the bodies hit the floor.
Like drowning pool?
Yeah. And then it just got louder and louder. And it was the bodies hit the floor. And a guy with a chainsaw comes in and saws the heart in half. And they're like, this is what sex does to you. This is what it does to your relationship. And then afterwards, a guy with a flamethrower comes in and sets the heart on fire. And they said that that's what STDs were.
So was this presented by Rammstein? What is going on here? That sounds if the subject matter was a little different, it sounds like it could have been a really good time.
I know. You know what? We all had a really great time. But it was just really weird because I would tell that story to other kids and I was like, what, you've never had that before? It's your local abstinence concert.
Yeah, no one's trusting us with pyrotechnics.
I know, it's wild. Oh my goodness. The crazy things that they do to kids. And when I thought about it before, I was like, why are they so focused on it? It's actually one of the things that got me really curious in my sexuality.
It's why are they saying no to this so hard?
Yeah.
It's kind of like how Dare failed with drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, you're telling me this is what drugs could do? That actually sounds like a lot of fun, man. Well, and it's been proven time and time again, abstinence education does not work.
Yeah.
What worked, at least for me, was the 90s sex ed, which was just yo, here are horrific pictures of STDs. If you have sex without a condom, you're going to get one of these. So wrap it up. Have sex, but wrap it up. I didn't have unprotected sex intentionally until my mid-20s.
Oh, wow.
And the first time I had unprotected, I had a partner and we were just messing around. She's like, just stick it in me, stick it. And penetrated her, banged it out. And afterwards I freaked out. Mm-hmm. And I did not communicate why I was freaking out very well. I'm sure I super upset her. I communicated it like shit.
Oh, you know what? I think that we all communicate our first times like shit. I actually almost cried the first time I had sex.
But this wasn't my first time. This was my first time without a condom on. I'm in my mid-fucking-20s. I fucked a lot at that point. I was just, it was bad.
Oh, that's okay.
At least I acknowledge it now, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. It's so crazy. And just the lack of communication sometimes on a lot of things just gets all of us.
Unfortunately, like, it's part of the human condition to seem to like, oh, I fully comprehend what I am thinking, what I am feeling, and I just kind of expect that you would get it too. Like, no. The person you just fucked is not a mind reader. You really need to tell them.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's so funny because when you're watching a show on TV, you think, oh, all you have to do is tell them. This would solve all their problems. And then you think in real life, if I only actually talked to them about this one thing, if I actually said it, it probably would have solved my problem. So we think it's so easy when we're watching it play out on the melodrama of, TV.
That honestly is one lesson that I wish, like, my parents had instilled a little harder, but I don't know if they realized this. It's like, oh, everything that you're seeing on that glowing tube is the imagination of some guy in Hollywood with a pen. Like, it's simple shit like, my father, when I was a kid, wanted to sign me up for karate. He's like, we need to find you someone like a Mr. Miyagi. Like, those words came out of his fucking mouth. Like, it's a fictional fucking character.
Yeah, there's so many things. It is really funny that you bring up that point because there's so many things that we think are just, oh, this is common sense. This is something that just exists. And it's just something that TV came up with.
So much of it. So fucking much. I think that's what is perpetuated in a lot of cases, though, like the women as a reward for the hero of the story trope. And that's why a lot of dudes feel entitled to fucking women. It's like, I'm the hero of my story. That's the prize for the hero, right?
Yeah, that's a very interesting concept. I think that there is a lot of that, but the guy like needing to get the girl or that the girl is indebted to the guy because of that. It's so tropey.
Oh, it super is. And like, I don't know, like you can definitely tell me on like, especially a younger woman's end, but like as a dude of, elder millennial status, there is still like weird bro codes. Like, I was interested in this woman and she wasn't interested in me. Oh, I can't go for her, bro. You were interested in her. I'm like, no, man. She's a person with an agency. She chose you. Cool. Have fun. Like, but there's still that like weird, and I feel like that trope is completely perpetuated by fucking television and modern media as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that there are a lot of, there are things within girl code that I think TV actually gets right. Like a lot of girls actually like walking with each other to the bathroom. That's a thing on TV that just actually happens. I don't know why. We just all telepathically know, okay, it's time to go to the bathroom, time to go in unison in that direction. It's very interesting, like pack behavior.
Well, and it makes sense, especially like, I don't know if like modern society is actually more dangerous or it's just perceived to be more dangerous because we have more information. But I know women definitely feel threatened to be alone in a lot of cases, especially in public. So that shit all makes sense. That perfectly makes sense. Plus, you got to be able to gossip somewhere, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
See, and that's just a horrible stereotype. I just the girls are going to the bathroom to gossip. Like, damn, I'm just showing I'm a Neanderthal. I'm on it. Back to like the religious conversation.
Yeah.
How long did it get you to arrive at like Taoism? Did you experiment with other religions first, or did you?
I thought very long and hard about different philosophies first. I wanted to sort of piece together what my belief was like. I studied a variety of different religions and I thought, well, this is what I believe from here, and this is what I believe from here. Why can't I just take all of the lessons that I've learned from other texts and then just choose what I believe out of all of them? Because I don't think that you should ever adhere to one specific text. I think that they're extremely biased. I think that over the years, every text has been manipulated in some way by a different author's interpretation of what those words mean.
I 100% agree. And on top of it, most of them were written by people who didn't poop indoors.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to set rules for people who have never even experienced indoor plumbing? These motherfuckers have never experienced a bidet. They've never had the pleasure of having their asshole water picked.
Exactly.
How are they going to set rules for me? Like, what do you mean I can't have tattoos or I can't eat pork? Pork is amazing. Pork is fucking amazing.
Bacon's amazing.
It is.
Crabs. Crabs are delicious.
They are.
Oh my goodness. I don't think I've ever would have been able to live without crayfish.
Lobster? Lobster's fucking delicious.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That's why, like, in modern times, the people that are just... Well, and in most cases, they're not even actually adhering to the religion that they espouse. They're picking and choosing what they want out of it, too. Because, like, oh, are you wearing a mixed fiber? You're breaking the law, man.
Oh.
Are you not resting on the Sabbath? Like, you're breaking the law, man. Like,
You know what's actually really funny about that? The Sabbath, the day of the Sabbath specifically, is debated upon. So now no one actually knows what the right day is. It's like, is it Sunday? Is it Saturday? Which one is it?
is it Friday night sundown?
Exactly.
It's crazy because it's been manipulated by so many authors over the... Like, if you were to find the original Bible, you wouldn't even be able to fucking read it. I'm sure the audience is like... You guys are going to just talk religion for the whole time. Okay.
Well, you know, we can transition with, and that's how I got into porn.
All right. And that's how she got into porn.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying your time in the industry so far?
Yes, I am. I'm still new. I'm in 3 to 4 months deep, and it is absolutely wonderful. I've done about, like, somewhere in the 70s in the amount of shoots that I've done so far, though. It's been a lot.
Nice. Yeah, everything, like, you're physically okay with everything that's been going on? Like,
yeah. You know, it's definitely very physically exhausting. I don't think people anticipate the fact that you want to be ready to run a marathon before you want to, like, really try to go into porn. I did not realize how many muscles it required until, like, my very first shoot, and then I thought, wow, I'm exhausted. I'm just gonna take a quick nap. And then I woke up and it had already been 12 hours.
yeah, y'all have some pro athlete marathon-esque sex. Like, and that's the thing about having to do it for an extended length of time, having to do it as, you know, what's aesthetically pleasing, not necessarily what's physically pleasing, start, stop. Yeah, it's a whole to-do. It is a whole fucking to-do that people just don't seem to realize, because all they see is, like, the fucking 6-minute clip.
Oh yeah, it's really funny when you word it that way. You know, different companies have their own style of shooting, and sometimes they will actually, like, if you're in a VR shoot, they will actually shoot what's almost an entire shoot just for the trailer in 2D. So they want you to go through every single position, like, with the 2D camera first for a couple minutes each, and then do the actual porn on VR. So it's like 2 shoots, and it lasts about the whole day.
Well, and then you add in, some companies want to still do sex stills.
Yeah, sex stills as well. Sex stills are actually a lot easier because you can stay still when you're doing it. It's nice.
Yeah, but it's still like, oh, I gotta have sex with this person twice.
Yeah, but I definitely think that it's a lot easier. Sometimes I like to see the sex stills as a warm-up. It's just something I actually really enjoy because it helps get me in the mindset of, oh, I can very easily switch into a flow by this. So I don't have to worry about what position I go into. I know exactly which one I'm going to transition into and how.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you've been enjoying it because, like, you know, like, the average lifespan in this industry is not super long.
Oh, yeah. I know that that's a really big question, and I plan on having a good long time in the industry.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Like, did anyone warn you about, like, the pitfalls of getting into the industry before you did? Or did you just jump in 2 feet?
Oh, like what pitfalls?
Oh, like what pitfalls? No one's had this conversation with you? No.
Depends.
Well, things like the notoriously short lifespan of performers, or the fact that being a sex worker is not a protected class, and if you ever decide to go for a civilian job later in life, that you could be discriminated against.
Oh, well, you know, see, that's where the discussion is. I don't actually see any of those things as pitfalls.
Well, just being discriminated against definitely, I think, is.
I can feel discriminated against, or I can choose to make my identity something that is not going to affect me like that. You know, I don't really care how people are going to see me as a slut or something like that, because we're all going to be discriminated against for something. It just depended on what. For years I was discriminated against for being a nerd. People are going to make fun of you for anything. They're going to find a flaw in anything that you do. And the point is to find something that you love and to do it knowing that it's going to happen anyway, without fear of criticism or judgment.
Well, I totally get that. And some performers definitely struggle with that. They do.
Absolutely.
The comment section can be fucking brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like when as you get older, obviously your body's going to change. Like that, we're humans. It happens. And I know plenty of performers who have been called out in the fucking comment section for gaining a fucking ounce or having a blemish or something, like really stupid, petty shit that like dudes who are masturbating to feel that they're entitled to fucking say.
I think that I am particularly privileged because before I got into porn, I've been a cam girl for 4 years. And I have a really loving and wonderful fan base. I know that my fans have actually been getting aggressive in the comment section protecting me because sometimes the directors don't want me to wear my glasses for a scene, and I immediately see in the comments, why isn't she wearing her glasses? Like, we know Leana loves wearing her glasses, and it's so funny. They're always there for me, and I feel very lucky that I have a fan base that protects me.
That's fucking awesome, and I hope to fuck it stays that way and only grows.
Absolutely.
The stuff with, like, potential civilian work down the road is not just, like, mean words. It's potential financial ruin.
Always.
So that's a potential pitfall. I know plenty of performers that have had problems romantically dating outside the industry because of, dudes not being able to get over dudes or women that they're dating, just not being able to get over what they do for a living. They say they're cool with it, and then all of a sudden they're not.
Maybe one of my biggest flaws is that I'm an optimist about absolutely everything. And the same goes with romance. I know that I'll find a partner that's there for me and considerate and compassionate about what I do.
I hope that fucking happens. Not best of luck to you. That sounds really fucking shitty. Best of luck to you. No.
Best of luck.
Yeah, no, I hope that happens. But it is a potential pitfall. Like, I've talked about this on the show before. Like, I have civilian friends who occasionally are like, oh, I want to get into the industry because they think it's easy money.
Oh, yeah.
Which it's not.
The thing that I can say is that it's never going to be easy money. It took me 4 years in the camming industry to get a hold of it and to really get successful. My very first stream on Chatterbait. Can I say Chatterbait?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want. You can say OnlyFans, Chatterbait, fucking My Free Cams, whatever you want.
Woo! Go wild. Okay, I like that. So for Chatterbait, my very first stream, I was online for 4 hours and I only earned $20. People aren't prepared for the huge learning curve there is when it comes to camming. It is a lot more successful now. I have about 8,000 to 10,000 people that watch me per stream on Chatterbait. And it's extremely wonderful, but it requires a lot of consistency and a lot of determination. A lot of streams with 0 people until you gain that following.
100%. Yeah. I've had a lot of friends that have done camming, and it's a grind. Like, a lot of people are like, it's like a 9 to 5. You got to be on, working with certain hours. You got to fucking be consistent, and it is an absolute fucking grind. I'm curious, with 8,000 to 10,000 fucking people watching, you're like, how do you keep up with the chat? Do you have moderators? Like, how are you doing that?
I do have a moderator that is watching my stream for anyone that says concerning things. And sometimes if I miss what someone's saying, I just have to rely on the idea that they'll say it more than once. I usually just try to catch what comment catches my eye. Sometimes I have a program that sort of slows down the chat so that I can read it a lot easier. And if it gets backed up, I just scroll all the way down. It works very well.
8,000 to 10,000 people just chatting at you is that's a lot. That's a fucking lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But most of them are too busy to work with their hands.
You can say they're rubbing one out. It's fine. You don't have to be shy about it. They're playing with themselves. We get it.
Yeah, they're playing with themselves. I mean, it's the whole goal of Chatterbait in the first place, masturbating while you chat. It's not the most efficient way of getting at it, but you know what?
Hey, if it makes them happy. If it makes them fucking happy.
It's wonderful. I really love it.
Is that like an empowering feeling to be like, I have, say, 4,000 people literally masturbating to me at one time. Like, I'm assuming that like not all 8,000 are pulling their dicks at the exact same time. So let's say 50%.
I've definitely had the idea. I know I was talking to a friend about this, thinking about after 4 years of that, and now after 3 months of just porn on its own, how many orgasms have I caused? Like, how many are there? I wish there was like a little counter that could just tell me how many times I've made someone come. It would be so much fun.
Oh, I'm just... Yeah,
Are you trying to do the math?
No, I'm trying to do the math on how much ejaculate you're getting per stream.
Oh, there we go.
So we'll go with on the low end.
Into a renewable energy source? Is that it?
Maybe. I mean, technically, a load has like information in it because of the data from the sperm. So it's like,
of course,
you're definitely generating terabytes of data every stream. We're gonna go with the low end because the normal volume varies from 1.5 to 5 milliliters per ejaculation. So we'll go with 1.5 on the low end.
Okay.
And we'll say 4,000. You are getting 6,000 milliliters, roughly, of ejaculate per stream. Yeah.
But also remember that number is rotating because there will be people leaving and entering the chat consistently. And if that number is still 8,000, it probably is actually a higher number than even that.
Right, because people pop and go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Very quickly.
Fine. You get 8,000 milliliters.
Yeah, that's still crazy. That is still insane.
Well, this bottle of liquor is 750 milliliters.
Oh, no.
So, that is 6 liters.
So what you're saying is I could have my own sperm bank.
Probably. I mean, you probably want to weed out the donors a little more than just being like, they throw me money. They can procreate with somebody. Like,
yeah, got to be careful.
Yeah, you gotta weed them out a little bit more. They'll just, do you have any weird tendencies? It is actually ridiculously hard to donate sperm.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I heard about that.
You got to be like a certain height. You got to like have no genetic dispositions to like any common diseases. There's a whole lot to it. Like, that's another TV trope that's like, oh, dudes get desperate. They can just go donate a fucking load.
Yeah. Or, a girl gets desperate. She can just donate her ovaries. That's another one.
Oh, yeah. Selling the egg?
Yeah.
I mean, if you qualify, it is good money. If you qualify, it's like 10 to 15,000 per egg.
Oh, my God. That's insane. But you know what? I heard in Japan, for sperm donors, they actually have a little robot that will jerk you off.
Of course they do. I love Japan.
I know. It looks like a TARDIS, if you ever were curious about that.
Is it blue?
No, but it's shaped like one.
Like, so what end of the TARDIS do you fuck?
The one with the hole?
Doesn't the TARDIS look like a phone booth?
Oh, I'm sorry. No. I'm so sorry.
I'm like, okay, I'm in a fucking Japanese phone booth. That's.
Wait, what's the? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I think I have had enough alcohol.
She's had half a cocktail, folks. Half a cocktail.
Exactly. I get drunk very quickly, but I do have to admit that is a mistake I was not anticipating.
Oh, you weren't expecting me to call you on it? Sorry.
Where is it? Doctor Who.
The sonic screwdriver?
No, the things that like...
The companion?
The things that talk in like a very monotone voice.
A Dalek?
The Daleks.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a Dalek. It looks like a Dalek.
Oh.
Except without the bumps. It's sleek.
I'm not sure I'd be able to get it up for that.
Yeah, I know.
Japan's not taking my sperm anyways. They're a very, 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 very homogenized culture.
Oh, yeah.
You ever been?
No. I really want to go to Japan, though.
I love it there. Sorry, audience. Sorry. I talk about Japan a fair amount.
Oh.
I absolutely fucking love it there. It is my fucking happy place.
Eventually, I want to go there just to, I really want to take a tour of the shrines.
Any tattoos?
No, I don't have any tattoos.
So you're okay. Like, visible tattoos really are a thing there?
Yeah, I heard that because of the Yakuza.
Yeah, well, and it's just like, it's like wearing gang colors. Like, obviously they know I'm not fucking Yakuza, but they just think I'm an American criminal. So, but yeah, you can't go to the shrines or the fucking hot springs with tattoos. It's just a thing.
That is so, yeah. I remember hearing about that. It was, you know what, though? The other place that I actually wanted to go for years was Australia. And people have asked me, why do you want to go there if everything wants to kill you? You know, it just seems so interesting to me because everything there wants to kill me.
Not everything wants to kill you. Koalas just want to sleep.
Yeah, koalas want to sleep, but they also are riddled with STDs.
Just chlamydia. Don't fuck the koala and you'll be fine.
Don't fuck the koala. You know, in Florida, it is actually illegal to fuck a porcupine. How many people had to fuck a porcupine in Florida for that to become a law?
Either a lot or one very influential person.
Exactly.
We'll just get that law pushed through.
It's questionable. There's so many ridiculous laws. In Florida, you actually, what was it? Something about how you can't actually park your elephant at the parking meter. It's so ridiculous.
Oh, there's just a lot of ridiculous laws on the books almost everywhere. But yeah, Florida, I'm sure has... I would be afraid to hear what laws are on the books just regarding alligators. Just regarding alligators.
Oh, that's easy. Don't feed the alligators. And yet everyone does.
Well, how else are you supposed to get them big for, the cookout?
Exactly.
Alligator's fucking delicious.
Oh, yeah. When I lived out in the country, they definitely served a lot of fried alligator. That was definitely a thing. But, it's very chewy. Like, a little bit too chewy. I really love octopus, though. Octopus tastes delicious.
It does, but they're really smart.
They're really smart. I do feel very guilty, especially when the waiter comes out and gives me like a bowl full of baby octopus. It's just like, oh, this is delicious. And I feel extremely guilty. But bacon is the same exact way. Pigs are incredibly smart.
Well, they are, but they were already like being factory farmed, which is problematic itself.
Oh, okay, I was about to ask, is there like an intelligence to flavor ratio where you're able to overcome...
Oh, no, I'll eat all of it. The way I look at it is like if an octopus got caught and I'm eating it, it was a dumb one.
Oh, okay.
It was dumb enough to get caught. Those motherfuckers can fit through anywhere that their beak can go through.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Did you see that video on YouTube of the octopus slipping through the hole in the ship? Oh, my goodness.
They escape aquariums pretty regularly.
Yeah.
If they were dumb enough to get caught, I'm eating the stupid one. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, pigs are pretty smart too. But they're so fucking delicious. So fucking delicious.
The thing that gets me actually in Florida, someone played a very mean prank on me one time because I did not know that two very different fish actually share the same name, and it's dolphin. So someone walked up to me and they were like, they gave me a burger and it was like, oh, it's a fish burger. And I bite into it. How do you like it? You're eating dolphin right now. I just about cried. I did not know that mahi-mahi is also called dolphin. That's wild.
Who calls mahi-mahi dolphin?
That is an actual thing. You can look it up.
I had never heard that. That's just mean.
I know. So they actually sell them as dolphin burgers.
I'm Googling internet. Googling. That's why. So common English name. Yeah.
The dolphin fish. The common dolphin fish.
Weird.
It's so messed up. I know. So that's one thing that's in Florida that probably fewer people would have liked to know. But
so mahi-mahi is the Hawaiian name for dolphin fish.
Mm-hmm.
The Hawaiian moniker came into common use to prevent consumers from confusing the fish with the marine mammal, it is unrelated.
Mm-hmm. Very unrelated, but Florida has deliberately decided to choose it as dolphin burgers because, I don't know.
The football team would probably be part of it.
Mm.
Especially in Miami. Like, oh yeah, it's a dolphin burger. Woo! You sure you want to move to Florida?
Yeah.
LA's a cool place.
LA's absolutely fantastic, but I'm still going to be here regularly. I still do practically live in both places pretty consistently.
I don't know. Given the choice, I would always choose LA, but that's just me.
Have you always lived in LA?
No, I'm a Chicago native originally.
Oh, okay.
Fuck Chicago winners. But I also had a gig at one point that had me traveling constantly. I've been to 45 states. Like I was stuck in fucking Hialeah, Florida for 6 months at one point.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I've been fucking everywhere. And like been in most places long enough to actually get like a taste of what it would be like to live there. And yeah, it ain't for me in a lot of places. A lot of America is just like, yeah, that was a thing I did. Like, if I never go back to Montana, I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Montana was a weird place.
Ohio?
I have a lot of friends in Ohio, so I unfortunately have to go back at some point. Like a lot of friends in Ohio.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Problem with being from Chicago, people end up in fucking Ohio. And
Yeah.
But at least with Ohio, like they have White Castle, and I can, make them suffer with that at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's true.
Have you ever had White Castle?
I remember the great White Castle war between White Castle and Crystal Burgers. It's, in Florida, in Daytona, there is actually a spot where there's like this rickety old White Castle still standing, like against a Crystal Burger somewhere farther down the road. Crystal won out in Florida. White Castle isn't as popular.
No, White Castle's more like Midwest, Northeast.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them in Vegas. That's as far west as they gotten.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, the best part about fucking White Castle is their breakfast sandwiches anyways. Seriously, they fry the egg to order. They fry the fucking egg to order.
Oh, wow.
Who else fucking does that? No one. No one.
Okay. Yeah, that's very good.
That's like $2. $2. It's 2 pieces of wheat toast, an egg they just fried, and a sausage patty and a piece of cheese. You can't beat that for like $2.
When I was younger, I actually thought that I invented eggs and toast.
And how long did this go on before someone corrected you?
3 years.
Wait, were your parents just like, oh, that's nice, dear? Or
yeah, pretty much. They were like, oh, that's just so nice. And I'm like, yeah, I invented it. I made it like every morning for a month because I was so proud of it.
How did you find out that you didn't invent it?
So it was just like, I told them, I was like, hey, if you haven't tried this before, there's this thing that I came up with, and you just make a hole in the toast and you put an egg in the toast, and then it's eggy toast. And they were like, dude, that's called shotgun toast. I was like, what? And that was when I found out that I had not invented eggy toast.
How'd you take that?
I took it very hard. I was inconsolable.
Is this why you don't listen to country?
This is exactly why I don't listen to country.
We figured it out, folks. We figured out why. She no longer listens to country.
We're going deep into it today.
Oh, yeah. Did I not warn you before we got on air? This is not going to be your typical porn interview.
It was going to be very tough. I was prepared.
She was. She came with notes. She's like, you can't see it on the video version, but she's got a whole fucking like archives of fucking things that she's studying.
I came with a little backpack.
Who knows what's in there? Who knows? I'm a little afraid of what could be in there.
Secrets.
Could be a secret. Could be a giant dildo. Could be a portal to another dimension. Who knows?
It's both.
Well, yeah. I mean, if large enough dildo, you have to put it in another dimension. Otherwise,
exactly.
How else will you get through airport security?
Gotta keep it in a little pocket portal.
Exactly. It's a bag of holding.
Secure way. Exactly.
I don't know where I was going with any of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
The show tangents a little bit sometimes. Just running away with whatever like happens around here. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
That's fine.
Well, I'd hope so. I mean, I'm going to keep doing it. It's my show. Nothing you can do to stop me. You cannot beat me to death with a dildo and stop me.
Is that what you were thinking about the entire time we were having that conversation?
Oh, yeah. That she's just going to whip out a giant dildo and beat me to death with it on camera. But that is what the old fortune teller told me was going to happen.
Now I have to cancel my plans.
That was actually your plan. Shit. Oh, fuck. I was just making a joke. Little nervous now.
No, but you know what? In the entire time that I have been in the industry, I don't have that many toys. And if anything, comparing all of the toys that I've actually bought, they have never actually been for myself. They've been for camera, because I have a personal rule, and it is actually me, my hands, and my imagination. That is the best way that it works for me. It's so weird, because when I try to appeal to other people's fantasies, it's always with like tentacle dildos. I actually have one that looks like an octopus tentacle.
From Bad Dragon, or?
Yeah. from Bad Dragon. It was my very first. Bad Dragon actually gave it to me as a gift. My very first chatterbait stream.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very sweet of
your
them.
very first stream, they're just like, here, have a Bad Dragon toy?
Yeah, so this is a secret. Actually, Bad Dragon has a deal with New Cam Girls, or at least they did 4 years ago, where you would message them, you would message a secret person, and they would give you a beginner's pack. And so I had a Bad Dragon dildo. They gave me a full tube of normal lube, a full tube of cum lube, 3 different samples of density and softness in terms of texture of their dildos that you could choose from and test, and then like a dildo keychain.
Well, good shit.
Yeah, it was very nice of them, and they were just giving it out to new models to use for their streams, because on your very first couple streams on Chatterbait, they promote you to the front of the page.
Well, shit. Why is Chatterbait better for streaming than Twitch? God damn. It's fucked up.
I know. They give you a free little sponsorship your first time in.
Right? Like, oh, hey. It's kind of like how they say drug dealers work.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Here's your free taste. You're going to come back for more, right?
I'm going to hook you in. But you know what's actually really funny? I have come back to Bad Dragon several times for their toys, just because I am very texture sensitive. So I'm very specific on what kind of textures on the toys that I like when I do use them. And they've always come out with the best quality. You know, and I really love their variation in colors.
And I'm sure they'll love the ad you just ran for them.
Oh, yeah.
I'll clip this for you. You can send it right on to Bad Dragon and be like, yo, throw it on the site.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I don't care. I just think it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
So what texture is like your ideal texture?
Oh. Let's see. My ideal texture. It's got to be, at least in the toy range, it's like the medium thickness dual core density. I really like it when it's firm in the middle and soft on the outside.
There's nothing wrong with that. I do have to say, though, the way you initially answered that, I felt like I just asked you a question for a spelling bee. You're just like, my ideal texture. Can you use it in a sentence?
I was ready. I really had to think about that one, because I am so specific with textures. Like when I buy my clothes, I actually have to really feel them with the tips of my fingers. It has to rub against me very, very nicely. I did not mean to make that as a sexual innuendo, but it came out that way.
You know, those are okay here. You can do that. It's fine.
Oh, okay, cool.
No one's going to judge you.
Okay.
No one is going to be like, oh no, she made a sexual innuendo. Oh my God, we talked about sex. Oh my God. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, full profanity. Like, you can pretty much do whatever you want here. Like,
oh, wow. Okay.
Except beat me to death with the dildo. You can't do that one.
Oh, that's right.
You can't even beat me unconscious with the dildo. Like, no violence towards me, please.
Of course.
Okay. I love that, like, you're just like, that's okay. I mean, I've definitely had guests be violent towards me before.
Oh my gosh, no.
Just like one time. But
oh, that sounds awful. What happened?
I've told this story on air, but yeah, I had a guest get a little drunk and punch me in the fucking head.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah, it's a good story. And the audience has definitely heard it before, but yeah, that super duper happened.
I think the best way to describe my state of drunkenness when I get there, whenever I drink alcohol, I get more philosophical than anything else. That's weird. I'm the philosopher drunk.
I mean, a lot of philosophers are drunk, so that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's sort of, it goes back and forth.
I just try to match energy when I've been drinking. It's just like, are we being silly? Yeah, I can be silly. Are we waxing philosophical? Yeah, I can do that too. I tend to do that a little bit more on mushrooms than I do drinking, but...
Oh, okay. I know that there's a trope that a lot of people in porn do drugs, but the only thing I've only ever had like edibles, like weed edibles.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's an individual choice.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those things where, like, I am not a proponent of people being like, oh, you should, well, okay, that's a lie. I'm definitely thinking people should do psychedelics. But I am also of the opinion that you shouldn't do anything that's going to fucking take over your life and not allow you to fucking operate.
Absolutely.
Psychedelics are fine because they're not addictive. You just do them on occasion, on special occasions, and like have a good time. Preferably in a safe environment where like you're just going to enjoy yourself. Things like, coke and heroin, that can be that can be problematic. But also, I'm very much of the opinion that, like, if you're going to do something that only negatively affects yourself, it's your body, it's your choice.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't espouse that you should, but it's on you. I'm sure there are plenty of there are probably a handful of functioning heroin addicts out there. Keith Richards, come on! Fucking one of the biggest bands in the world. Been a heroin addict forever, right? There's exceptions to those rules.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, like, some experimentation in life is good. But it should just be that. Like, just some experimentation. Not like, oh, hey, I'm a heroin addict. That's how I define my life. And it's much like religion. It's like, your life should not be defined by just your religious beliefs or your political beliefs.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things that, bothers me in modern society. Is like, people's political beliefs have become their religion.
The thing that I think everyone focuses maybe a little bit too much on is the idea of labels. I think that everyone is looking for something to label other people by because then it makes them easier to understand. But by typifying someone, you're not seeing them as a 3D person with interchanging ideologies and behaviors, and there's so many other things to them than the labels that we put on other people.
100%. I mean, we're also in a society where nuance is dead, so it's just easy to like, oh no, as you said, just label people. Like, no, they're that. They're like, no. People are hopefully constantly changing and evolving too.
Absolutely. I really hope for the best in people.
Well, I am the polar opposite. I expect the worst in almost everybody.
I feel like everyone has the capacity for growth and change, even when they don't see it in themselves. Something could happen in their lives that really makes them think and changes things.
Yeah, it's generally horribly traumatic.
Usually the horrible traumatic things, but it does happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, the way the human existence goes, generally the positives just reinforce shitty behavior.
Yeah.
It's like, if you were already shitty, good things happening to you will continue to make you be shitty. Like, just need something horrible and traumatic to be like, oh, hey, maybe I'm not living the best life here. Fuck. We should talk more about sexy things than just, weird philosophical, but you're like, oh, I good philosophical. No, got me off on a tangent.
Oh, it happens.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
So, where do you see your career go? Like, I know you're 3 months in, but like, where do you see your career eventually going? You're 3 months into professional work, you're 4 years and change, and you're not like fucking fresh off the bus as they were.
Yeah. Because of that, I do have a plan.
Are we allowed to know what the super secret plan is?
Not all of it. But, some things I like to keep secret. I do intend to be in porn for the better half of a good couple years. Primarily because I feel like my fans deserve a certain quality of content that sometimes I'm too lazy to procure on my own.
At least you're honest about it. That's awesome.
You know what? I have a camera, I have a rig, I have everything that I could use to make some of my own videos. But I really love trusting the direction that other directors take with my work. And I love getting new fans off of that and just seeing their creativity and experiencing all these different scripts and then working with other directors and then making scripts with them and some kind of combination of creative identity. It's just so much fun. And one of the things that I definitely just plan on being more consistent in is camming. and doing porn at the same exact time. That has been hard because I have been touring between Miami, LA, and Vegas and then going home. But because I'm going to be moving closer to at least one shoot location, I'll just be flying back and forth now between technically home and then another place.
I love how you're like, technically home. It won't feel like home. It'll just be where my shit lives. I know that feeling. Not great after a while.
I don't know. So far, I am really embracing what feels like a very nomadic lifestyle right now. It's interesting because I've never really gotten to have this type of experience where my environment is consistently changing and it is exciting. And I know that as the newness goes away, I'm still going to be excited about it because of all the opportunities and the people that I get to meet along with it.
Oh, 100%. And embrace the fuck out of them. It's amazing what doors porn opens sometimes.
Yeah. And eventually, after starring in porn, maybe eventually I will go back to making my own porn. I think that is going to be the end result after I've learned lessons from all of the sets that I've been on. There's just so much to learn when I'm there.
So are you actually like spending time with the crew, like asking questions or?
Yeah, I like spending a lot of time with the crew, especially because, I mean, they have such a huge part in what the output becomes for every scene. I love focusing on the camera guy. I love focusing on how they set up the lights, what gear that they're using, what cameras and what lenses that they're like putting on to accentuate certain parts of the room. It is just so cool to me. I love learning about every avenue just because it's really fun too.
Are you a fan of film in general, or?
I'm not as much of a film nerd, but going into porn has somehow given me insight into what filming is like, and it is very fun to sort of now look at films and see, oh, you know what? I can see why that's a separate cut. I can see that they actually did several takes on this because the main character is now sweating. It's so funny.
Yeah, once you start editing a lot of your own shit, you're like, oh, I see edits everywhere.
Yeah, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I see why they did that. I see what they're covering up here. It has changed the way that I enjoy movies. I still enjoy movies, but I enjoy it in a different way now. And sometimes I have to get myself to just kind of shut up when I'm watching movies around friends, because now I'll just point at things and I have to kind of calm down.
Speaking of movies, what are some of your favorites?
Oh my gosh. So I'm a really big fan of horror movies.
Okay.
I really do love The Conjuring. The Conjuring is definitely one of my favorite horror movies. Annabelle Creation was a pretty good one. I have so many films that I really enjoy that it is very difficult to pinpoint all of them.
Well, as it should be. Like, when people are like, oh, what's your top 5 or your top 10? Like,
It all gets mixed in between at that point. I'm just like, oh my goodness, I don't think I could, okay, never mind.
Well, and it's also like, what am I in the fucking mood for? There's times where like, I'm in the mood for a fucking comedy, or I'm in the mood for a mindless action movie, or a fucking psychological thriller.
Yes, you know what? My favorite really sad, depressing, but amazing ghost story movie is Guillermo del Toro's The Devil's Backbone. You know what? Like, not many people know about that movie. It is one of, like, Guillermo del Toro's firsts, and it's really good.
He's a crazy person. He is absolutely a crazy person.
Absolutely, but wonderfully creative.
He is. He is. He also has 2 houses that are basically museums. He really does.
That's amazing.
I had a gig a couple of years back. Like, I do some security work on the side, and I had a gig where like I had to escort people from a museum in Mexico that were taking artwork from his houses to go put on display in Mexico.
Oh my God.
His houses are like, these 2 houses are so fucking cluttered with just fucking shit. It is
like what?
All sorts of artwork, so much Hellboy shit. So much Hellboy.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I actually have a good question. Do you think that Guillermo del Toro believes in ghosts?
I don't know. Honestly,
Out of all of the, the ghost stories, out of all of the fantasy that he's written, do you think that he's superstitious? I mean,
I don't. Judging by how those houses are set up, I don't think he's superstitious. But I definitely think he's into it. He's definitely into it. Yeah, those houses didn't strike me as someone who was superstitious. Like all his awards were just like kind of on a just random shelf by a kitchen in one of the houses.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's like, oh, hey, well, there's an Oscar and fucking like a Golden Globe just chillaxing right there.
Oh, that's great.
Imagine like a super fanboy, but a hoarder, and combine them together into two mansions.
Oh, wow.
Like you walk into one of the houses and it's just like, oh, there's a full like actual from set spacesuit from Prometheus right next to the glove from the first Hellboy that like Rasputin was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's actually really wild. Do you think he's going to have to buy like a third or a fourth mansion soon?
Probably. Probably. It was pretty fucking wild. Just like, yeah, my employer at the time was like, don't even take your phone into the fucking houses. Because like I wasn't even told what it was until I got there. It's like, I have a gig. It's, high profile. I need someone who can actually talk to people. Yeah, no problem. I'm on it. It's like, leave your phone in the fucking car. Do not even take it into the house. Then when I found out what it was, I'm like, okay, totally fucking get it. But yeah, those houses are wild. But it was almost like tripping over Hellboy like statues. But it's also like, if I had that kind of money and fame, what would I do with it?
Exactly.
So what would you do if you got to be filthy rich?
I would have... Okay, since I was a kid, I've always been one for planning my future. I actually had a plan where I would save up hundreds of thousands of dollars and I would build a 3-story house that would be like a safe house refuge for runaway kids.
Aw.
So my dream is that if I got filthy rich, I would definitely have a house for runaway kids.
So were you a runaway at one point?
No, I just always thought that it would be nice to have someone that was always there for someone that needed help.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's the like most down-to-earth answer I've ever fucking heard. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna help people. Like,
I feel like, people with ridiculous amounts of money like Jeff Bezos, they don't help enough people. I just think it's just kind of funny. Like, I think that a sensible person, if you had enough money, sure, you would save some money for yourself, but also, like, you should help other people too. You should be able to do both, and it should still be sensible to do so.
Well, I agree. But it's one of those things where, like, unfortunately, the ultra rich start their own charities just as tax write-offs and then manipulate policy.
That's despicable for me. And then they end up taking money from their private charities. I've read that too, and it's just so silly to me.
Even if they don't take money from their charities, they 100% manipulate policy with the charity.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to fucking experts on where this money needs to go. I'm going to dictate where this money needs to go, which is a problem when you're like, hey, I'm a expert in computer science or some shit like that, not social economic fucking things where, hey, that might be more suited to someone who's actually studied or devoted their life to this shit.
Yeah.
But I don't ever expect to be that rich. I expect to be like self-sufficient. I don't expect to even, I'm going to die poor. I'm going to stop lying to the camera. It's okay though. You can't take it with you anyways.
If I ever was really, 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 really crazy rich, I think a selfish purchase that I would make was that I would have privately trained dolphins.
Your own little SeaWorld? Are you trying to get yourself canceled? Like,
no. Well, all I'm saying is, do you remember Austin Powers?
I'm fully aware.
Austin Powers' arch nemesis had sharks with little lasers on the top. Yeah, I would have dolphins.
Dolphins with lasers?
With lasers.
That sounds like a great way to lose an eye.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be really cool.
Till you lost that eye.
Maybe I would just lessen the lasers to be like cat lasers. So I would have like a cat that could run around and the dolphins could play with
I just imagine you as like a human cat there. Like, the dolphins are just shining lasers like...
Oh my God. No, that's not what I would do.
Why not? You're rich. You don't have to work.
It's true. I would probably still work.
Like, I know, do you have this whole plan for your future? Like, do you ever want, like, settle down kids one day, or?
Oh, man. I think that kids are always an option if I find the right person. But right now, I think that it's way too early in my life to even think about it.
Well, okay. I was only asking because you said, I plan out my life.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've always planned out my life. When I was in middle school, I planned that I was going to be a marine biologist that was going to live in Queensland, Australia specifically.
So what happened? Why did that not happen?
I grew up and then I got really into psychology. And then I thought, well, I could get a double major in biology and psychology and get a specialization in neuroscience. And then I paused on that because I was saving up money. I did have a 75% scholarship at the time, so that paid for 75% of like my tuition, but I still needed the other 25%.
And then I'm assuming that didn't cover housing either.
Yeah, it didn't cover housing. And with that, as I was saving money, camming created a business for me that became a lot more profitable.
Chasing that almighty dollar, the American dream. I mean, that's the beauty of sex work, is it does allow for upward mobility.
You know what? In a lot of ways, it did help me and my dreams. Because I ignored a lot of things to go into neuroscience and biology. I sold, I had like gotten a previous scholarship actually in art. I had gotten like a several $1,000 photography scholarship so that I could get camera gear and things like that. And I actually ended up using it to buy books for college. And when I got into camming, one of my fans bought me a really high-grade camera that I could use.
What did he get you? I'm a little bit of a gearhead, so what did he get you?
Well, I can say I now have a Canon Mark IV 5D.
Ooh, very nice.
Yes. And I also have, like, a brand new Wacom Cintiq.
Very nice.
Yeah, and they were all gifted by fans that really care about that other artistic side of me. So, as much as people say that porn closes doors for you in certain business aspects, porn opens up a lot of doors that I don't think other people are ready to consider.
Oh, 100% porn opens a lot of fucking doors.
A lot.
But as I was talking about earlier, it does have, it's not like, there are trade-offs for it.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, hey, here's my wonderful life of pornography and backstage passes and free shit.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not a wonderful life. There's so many wonderful things about it, but I can say all of the glamour that people think are like luxuries are actually just things that we have to do for work. Like people like to joke, especially on TV. It's the trope about, oh, I've got to get my nails done. Getting your nails done actually hurts. It's not something that many of us just enjoy. It doesn't feel super good. The ladies that like give you your pedicures aren't always like the most gentle, things like that, And self-care is something that I think everyone can relate to as something that's very hard. And you still have to keep up in terms of self-maintenance every day. It's something that people would expect to be very easy. But it's really a ritual that you have to get used to.
Well, and people also overlook the fact that, like, on a normal civilian job, if you're having an off fucking day, you can still show up to work and possibly, make your way through it.
Mm-hmm.
You show up to set on an off fucking day, people are going to talk about it, and it's being fucking filmed. There is record of your off fucking day.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. Because if you're, I've actually thought about this on set. Because if you have a cold and you're feeling shitty in the office, that's one thing. You can still get your work done, but you can't go on set if you have a cold. It's just like you can't go on set if you're sick. Also, if you're feeling down and out, you cannot show any of that on camera. You have to change all of your facial expressions. You have to change your entire demeanor. You become someone else in order to fit into a specific type of fantasy, in order to fit into an ideal. And if you're in pain, sometimes there are a lot of very uncomfortable positions. You immediately transition to make it look as if it feels like the best thing in the world. And I love being able to do that because I see it as a challenge and it's extremely fun for me. But, it's definitely not going to feel the best.
Oh, it's not. That's why part of the reason the job's hard. You get into a fight with your significant other before you come on set. You got to hide that shit. You got to.
Oh, yeah.
Not everyone in this business does a great job of it sometimes. I mean, you've been on 70 plus sets at this point. I'm sure you've had some people show up in not in the best moods.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely seen those. I'll never get into detail about the specific things that happen on those types of sets because I feel like everyone's privacy is so important. But I do notice, when my partner on scene is having a rough time. And I feel like it's also important to be there for your scene partner because of that. I feel like one of the jobs is almost therapy with your other person if they're having a rough time. If they're having a hard time getting to completion, I always maintain physical contact if that's something that they need, and I maintain eye contact, and I'm there with them.
What if the eye contact freaks them out?
Then we don't make eye contact. Because, it's not everyone's thing. You kind of have to experiment to see what really gets them off. I love asking them, especially just, hey, what makes you feel the best so that, I can be there for that and make you feel the best.
Have you gotten any weird requests? Not to kink shame anyone, I'm just curious.
I don't really see it as weird. I know other people would see it as weird. Some guys have had to sniff my armpits.
Why did that just come to my mind? That's literally what I was thinking of.
Yeah, they'll I've had guys that will sniff or lick my armpits as a thing to get them off. And I think that's really, biologically, it makes sense to me because it's pheromones. It's not something that I'm used to, but I think that it's perfectly normal.
No, I mean, I'm not, as I said, I'm not here to kink shame.
Yeah.
It's not anything it's not anything I would consciously be like, yeah, I'm going to lick some armpits today. Mm-hmm. But, I've done some, wild shit in the heat of the moment. I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility of oh yeah, in the heat of the fucking moment, look at an armpit. Mm-hmm. And shit, I definitely one partner years and years ago, it's her and I still talk about this day. I definitely bit not her calf, but just the side of her leg was just heat of the moment shit. You never know. You
know what? I was reading a romance novel years ago, and they talked about biting the thigh, and I always wondered is that a thing that people actually like? But I noticed though that your inner thigh can actually be very sensitive. So sometimes there are certain guys where if they're very close to coming, all you have to do to really get them to the edge is run your fingernails up from the edge of their knee down into the inner part of their thigh. And as you get closer towards the groin, they really get close to coming. It's it builds up a sensation that makes it easier for them.
The more you know, folks.
Yeah. Sex tips.
I had never heard that one.
Sex tips with Leana Lovings.
How'd you figure that one out?
Experimentation.
They're just
Yeah. Well, I my main thing, something that turns me on, is giving my partner a lot of physical contact. So for me, in order to establish, because a lot of the scenes you have to be very intimate. So I sort of establish a form of intimacy beforehand. And what I do is I sort of run my fingers along them, sometimes along their hands. And if they're particularly responsive to that, I know that they'll be responsive to very light touches when they're on the edge of coming. I'll do some very light shapes where it's almost like I'm sort of tracing a story on their skin. And the more that they respond to that, the more I know they'll respond positively to that other kind of stimulation.
Nice. It took everything right there to not to be like, the story of will you pop already?
No. You know what? I never think that because I know the guy is definitely thinking that in his head already. You know that they're so critical of themselves, and I'm just like, you know what? I never want you to feel that way when you're around me. I don't say that, but you know what? I just establish that, and I just smile, and I make them feel as comfortable as possible.
Well, good on you. As someone who works on a crew, I'm 100% thinking, will you fucking pop already? I want to go home. We get day rates. Sooner I get to go home, more money I made. But no, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome that like you're trying to be there for your partner, because I often hear from male talent where it's just like, yeah, my scene partner, the minute the cameras aren't rolling, we're back on their phone or...
Yeah, no, like I feel like they need that kind of attention because I've seen that. You know, I've seen where a guy has difficulty popping and, you know, there's like the director going like, oh, and, you know, everyone's getting impatient and I might feel like a certain way. But for me, it's just like, I know that the best way he's going to feel good is if he knows that I care about what he's feeling in that moment right now.
Aw. It's not the sweetest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like,
aw, thanks.
That is not the typical attitude.
Oh, yeah. I think that there should be like more gentleness towards it. I think that that's what it requires.
Unfortunately, people are in this business for extended periods of time and are fucking jaded. All they just want is, you know, they want to do their work. They want to fucking make it look good. They want to make their money and they want to go home.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I can understand that to a point, but for me, it's always about intimacy and connection with my partners.
Well, I hope that stays that way for you. Like,
thanks. I want to be that person in porn. You know, I thought a very long time as a cam girl about when I was going to go into porn and who I was going to be and how I was going to perform. And I wanted to perform differently than the other girls that I had seen in porn. And I want to be authentic and genuine continuously.
When did you like come to the realization that like that's what you need to do?
As a cam girl, I noticed a lot that, you know, people when they go on chatterbait, they're masturbating a lot of the time, but sometimes they just want that intimacy and the connection with someone. And they want conversation and they want to feel like you actually care and you just need to be like a real person. And then it was just suddenly like, wow, maybe everyone actually just wants to be treated that way. And then you suddenly realize if I took that into porn, you know, that would be an entirely different experience that I haven't really seen as much of, because you don't always get to see a full-on connection with every performer that's out there. And so my goal is to have that kind of strength and connection with everyone I participate with.
Do you ever worry about like developing strong feelings for your scene partners over that?
No. That was a quick answer, but...
You're like, no, fuck them. It's all an act. It's all... No, I'm sorry.
No, but you know what? Like, it's just... the way that I see it, it's very healing for me. And then it's healing for them too. It's just sort of like, for me, like okay, so this is going to start with a completely different segue, but it's going to make sense. Okay. So I lost my virginity after I got into BDSM. So the first thing I actually ever did was go headfirst into BDSM. And so for me, the entire thing was, oh, we're doing all these intimate things, but we're not having sex. The goal was to get closer to that person. And so for me, the people that I did those things with, we were friends and we sort of formed a community with that. And so for me, that sort of lesson within BDSM has extended now into porn, where it just feels like I'm forming a connection and learning more about that person. It doesn't feel super romantic because I know the purpose of the scene. And I can still reach that kind of intimacy with a romantic partner because it's a different kind of headspace for me and it's in a different environment.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So there's a lot to unpack there. What made you decide to get into BDSM?
I was absolutely terrified of sex because I grew up in, that mega church setting. So for me, I just thought it was going to be super awful. I was just so scared about it. And then I thought, well, I thought about it with a couple people and they said, well, why don't you just get into BDSM? Because you can do all of these crazy things without ever having sex and it feels just as intimate. And I thought, wow, okay, I don't have to have sex. That sounds great. That joke about like Christian girls that have anal sex because God doesn't look there, or, oh, it doesn't count as real sex. It was kind of also in that vein, so to speak. It was easier.
So who introduced you to it? Like, did you just I'm just going to go to a BDSM club and see where it goes? Like, how'd you discover it? Like, I
got onto FetLife and I found like my local community there. And then suddenly there was like a girl that ran cafe meetups. And so I went with her and I showed my IDs and they vetted me at the cafe. And then it was just sort of it was very spontaneous. And they said, this is really out of protocol, but do you just want to go back to my place and hang out? And so we watched Chopped on TV, and then she brought out a toy bag, and they had rope, and they actually tried bondage while someone in her house made burritos. So they fed me burritos while I was tied up, and I was like, wow, this is great. We can just keep going. And it was absolutely wonderful. I got into bondage, and that was sort of the way that I could feel a connection with someone.
Are you still a lifestyle player? When you look for a partner, are you looking for someone who you can play with as well?
I think that's definitely a strong consideration for me. I always go for that person's personality because I know if their personality leans a certain way, if they have certain proclivities, then they'll be more open to my lifestyle. And after that point, after I feel like I can trust them, I'll be very open about here are the facts about my lifestyle. This is what I do. And then I'll slowly introduce them to those things.
You don't think it's better to just let them know right up front and be like, yo, if you're not into this, cool, later?
I think it depends. Because sometimes starting right out of the bat is going to scare people. It's going to scare people that are actually still into those things. And
well, you're weeding out the weak. Fuck them.
I mean, that's a really great way to do it. I definitely, I don't discourage that too. That's always an option. But for me, I guess I've always just been perhaps scared of immediately saying it because I've just been so used to quote unquote vanilla culture.
But what happens if you get involved with someone and they're vanilla and you really care about them and they're not down with your lifestyle? What then?
Well, that lifestyle is still very much a part of me. And so that's just where things would end.
But why waste all that time with them then?
It's not wasting time if you've spent time getting to know someone like that. It just means that you're making more memories along the way.
I feel like that is all easier said than done.
Absolutely.
100%. That's easier said than done. So yeah, as I said, I would rather just weed someone out right away.
That's a very good way of doing it. But immediately going on Tinder or Bumble and just playing all those cards out, you would not imagine how many people don't even read the profile. It's so funny. You could say it right there, and then they'll ask a question, and then you're like, wait, are you sure you even read it?
Oh, no, I know a female comic who had a whole bit about updating her Bumble profile to be like, I want to murder you, and people were still swiping right.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's 100%. So crazy.
100%, because we're dudes, we're dumb, we're like, you're hot, right swipe, right swipe. Do you be amazed how many people I matched with on those fucking apps where it's like, I didn't fucking read. I when we matched, like, oh, you live in fucking Russia. Cool, unmatch.
Oh.
Like 6,000 miles away, I'm not looking for a fucking pen pal.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that before. But you know what's actually really funny? I have only ever been in long distance relationships.
Why?
Because I was actually scared of meeting someone in person, and it was so much easier to just find people like on Discord or on like some other kind of gaming chat service than actually like going through the dating platform.
That makes sense, because in theory, you have something in common at that point.
Mm-hmm. And then it's just easier at that point to just include all of the other things.
But long distance does not work. Unless one of you is intending to move to the other place. In my personal experience,
Oh, yeah.
long distance doesn't fucking work. Like, if it's temporary, it's like, oh, hey, you're moving here or I'm moving there. At a set amount of time, we can make this work till that happens. But unless that's the fucking plan, long distance is destined to fucking fail. And the thing about it is, people can 100% keep up a good front on being awesome until you're really in their space on a very regular basis.
I think that that's true.
You know, in my youth, I definitely did a couple of long distance relationships, and boy, did none of them work out. It's like, nope. And I won't do them anymore. It's just like one of those things where, like, oh, hey, we can talk all the time. We can, have some level of intimacy. But until one of us is permanently in the same physical location as the other, this ain't a thing. Like, during the pandemic, I had a woman I was talking to who, like, I've met in real life. Like, she's a friend of a friend, but she lives on the East Coast, and she's been talking about moving to LA for a couple of years. So it's like,
oh, wow.
And we're talking, but, like, both of us, like, understand what's up. We both talked about other people we have fucked, like, during this whole time. It's like, that's cool, because you're not my girlfriend. You don't live here. And, like, I'm pretty sure she gets it the same way, because, like, she's like, yeah, I'm going on a date. I'm like, cool, have fun. Because you're not my girlfriend. You're a friend that I have, like, emotional, romantic feelings towards, but, like, at the end of the day, don't matter until you fucking live here.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, you're setting yourself up for heartache otherwise. And people get fucking weird. Like, people get fucking weird and weirdly jealous. Like, when it's long distance, it's gross.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely seen both sides of the coin. I don't know. Long distance relationships always worked out for me. And I think it's because of the safety of distance.
Is that safety for you?
I'm just so dangerous.
I mean, you're going to beat me to death with a dildo shortly. So, yeah, I think you're fairly dangerous.
I'm unpredictable.
What are you worried about? Like, what's the fear?
I think the fear was the reality of the relationship being real. Because when you're there in person, everything is suddenly actually real and you have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, and it's not just LARPing a relationship at that point.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And that's scary?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong to admit that. I mean,
I grew up as a very, very sheltered nerd. Like, that farm I grew up in was in the middle of 5 acres with no neighbors except for a logging company that had accidentally made their own Christian cult, and then an apocalyptic cult that had like their own camera security system outside of their gates. Like,
and you want to move back to Florida? Why?
Because, I wouldn't be in the country, and at that point it would be a lot easier.
Yeah, but they're still technically in driving distance of you. They're there.
But I was so sheltered, I didn't know how to communicate with anybody. The nearest school was a 40-minute drive away. So at that point, it was just like, I was so scared of talking to people and really forming relationships. And now that I'm in porn, it feels like I'm really getting to know people more. Camming really helped me with that too. That sort of connection in terms of conversation. I'm really understanding people. And it's so different now than it was back then.
Do you think that's part of the reason you got into psychology? To help understand people for yourself?
Absolutely. I love understanding how people think. I love understanding one's processes of thought and how they see the world for what it is. Because, everyone has their own perspective on how the world works. And that is so fascinating to me because we all have our own internal dialogue. We all have our own stories and roles that everyone plays. We are never the villain in our story. And that has to be something that we hate realizing about other people. Like the person that you hate most in the world does not see them as a villain.
Both you and they justify why you're the villain in their story.
Exactly. And you know what? That is just so fascinating to me. That is exactly why I wanted to go into psychology.
But now you've obviously made leaps and bounds in your human interaction and your ability to socialize.
Oh, yes.
Are you still afraid of it? Are you still afraid of it?
No, I've actually just gone into experiencing the world more, and I am excited by it now. It's definitely not something that scares me the way that it did back then.
Look at that evolution, folks. Well, and that's a beautiful fucking thing. That's a beautiful fucking thing.
Absolutely.
I wanted to dial it back a little bit, but I think this is important.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, Discord, and so do you game?
Of course. I mean, how do you go on Discord and not game? Okay.
There's a lot of talent out there that have their own Discords that have nothing to do with gaming.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, you can definitely have porn Discords. I actually ran a porn-oriented Discord for about 2 years.
So, why would you be on Discord if you're not gaming, man? I ran one of those for 2 years.
I know. You know what? I'm just full of contradictions.
I see that.
But, Discord was originally a gaming platform. And even on the porn Discord servers, there were always still rooms for gamers within it some way. There's always a facet for it. People obsessed with porn and hentai are definitely, there's still an avenue for gamers in there. And so I started ever since I was little. I would watch my family play on the PlayStation 1. So we've been, PlayStation generation gamers. And it was Lara Croft Tomb Raider. And so I've seen the Tomb Raider series. I saw them playing Dino Crisis. It's just so many good memories. And I got into those games. And now I play games like League of Legends. I don't play Red Dead Redemption 2. I heard that it's really good. I porn mod Skyrim by the shit ton. I think that's the first curse I've actually said on this podcast.
Oh my God. Podcast is over.
I know. It's gotta.
my virgin ears. I'm so fucking offended. So fucking offended right now. Holy shit. I can't believe you fucking swore at me. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm so sorry.
I don't believe you. I'm totally derailing the conversation. Please keep talking about gaming.
I just, you know what? I'm going to persevere in this, I promise. I got into League of Legends. I know that's cringy, but you know what?
Why is that cringy?
League.
It's a super popular game.
It's okay, but everyone that plays League of Legends knows that League of Legends is toxic. And
most online gaming is pretty fucking toxic.
Yeah. So I also got into Call of Duty. I got into PUBG. Oh my gosh, I loved PUBG when it was really in the height of its popularity. I've played a lot of games.
What are you playing right now?
Okay. Right now I've been modding Skyrim Anniversary Edition because the Anniversary Edition recently released. I have been playing. Oh, you know what?
Do we have to log you into Steam? Look at your library?
Yeah, right. I've been playing Ark a lot actually lately. As big as Ark is, it's so much fun to play. It's sometimes difficult just to download all of the files. I've played Elder Scrolls Online recently. And for nostalgia's sake, every now and then I play Wizard 101.
Don't know Wizard 101.
Oh my gosh. So, you know when Toontown was out?
No.
Oh, okay. It's years and years and years ago, and Wizard 101 is one of the really old MMOs out there. I used to be really into MMORPGs. I mainly had over 2,000 hours on Secret World Online. That was a really old MMORPG.
See, I haven't played MMOs since City of Heroes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like I'm an old school COH City of Villains player, so I never played WoW. Oh, actually, I'm a goddamn liar. I played EVE Online for a while.
Ah, there you go.
Spreadsheets in space, baby.
What is it? Like Desert Online? That was a popular one for a while. Black Desert Online.
Never played it.
Yeah, it's all the Japanese MMOs out there too. Those are fun.
Jesus, it has been 10 years since I've played an MMO, and it was EVE was the last thing I fucking played. And I only ever had fun with MMOs when like I was playing with a bunch of real life friends. I could never get into, like, I never got into WoW. I never got into a bunch of other stuff. Like, and I have a lot of friends who like built fucking whole communities over their MMO guilds. And those people became their real life friends. I just never got into it.
Oh, of course. You know what? For Elder Scrolls Online, it was very much the same for me. And I know friends that have made Minecraft communities that get abandoned over the period of 2 days. You know, everyone gets so excited about building something. Maybe you'll spend a week building this entire city and everyone's, made their own little homes. And then you log on one day and then everyone's sort of switched to their own games again. It happens.
ADHD and gaming? Never.
They've never crossed lines once. Nope. They
haven't figured out a way to, like, make the slot machine fucking part of our brain go off with gaming. No, not at all. No.
What's really funny is I'm pretty sure I could get a confirmed ADHD diagnosis off of this podcast, though.
On which one of us?
Both of us. I feel like we have really great segues to a variety of different topics, but we're making such great ping pong conversation that it works.
Oh, that's how the show always goes.
That's perfect.
That is really how the show always fucking goes. Once again, publicists doing disservice to their fucking clients. Leana was not warned in any way, shape, or form what the show was going to be about. I'm going to show up here for this porn podcast, and he's going to ask me about how I got into the industry and like who I want to fuck and what position. And then like I dive into religion immediately. Like, what the fuck? What am I doing? What's happening here?
It always works out.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, we got to talk about a bunch of topics that we both really enjoy.
Oh, no, I hate every last one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I have to put on my acting face, too. All I want to talk about is hardcore pornography. That's all I want to talk about.
Ah, yes. Hardcore sex.
No. Just pornography.
Pornography.
I don't. What's sex? Unless there's a camera capturing it, it doesn't matter.
Oh, exactly.
I also just do silly bits like that sometimes. Honestly, I feel like most things related to porn are, for the most part, pretty boring. Like, people's views and interactions with them matter, but like the overall like pornography itself is kind of boring. I've been in the industry for over a decade, so
I think that's right. So far, I mean, I know I'm still really new, but a lot of the times it's just like the same 5 positions and then cut. It's very easy to sort of slip into a certain pattern.
Well, and especially in the modern era where, depending on what company you're shooting for, they are completely basing the scene around what has been hitting for search engine words and the algorithm. Porn is a quasi-art in the first place. Like, there definitely can be art in it. But a lot of it is just, basically a factory pumping out masturbation.
I definitely want to be a part of the industry that just creates art.
I think a lot of people do.
That's a good goal, but it doesn't always happen every day.
Right, and a lot of the times, you got bills to pay, so. But the fact that like I was on set for MindGeek over the summer, and it's just like, oh, this scene is literally entitled just what fucking search words were popular on fucking Pornhub. Like, there is zero art to this.
I was recently reading the script for a shoot that I'm going to be on, and I could tell that they did not edit the script. So it was like male talent, whoever's cheaper. And it was just like extras, whatever. It was just like just filled in with all these bits, and then there's the idea for the story. But it was like they could just sort of fill in anyone.
Oh, they 100% do. we were shooting for Trans Angels like over the summer, and there were legitimately just recycled Brazzers fucking. And it's a little inside baseball. Please don't not hire me again. But it was literally just Montreal had sent down recycled Brazzers fucking scripts and just changed it a little bit for the Trans Angel scene. It's like, that's not art. That is not fucking art.
Sometimes, like, it depends on what I feel like, I guess, masturbating to. Because I don't always watch porn. But when I do, it's definitely like, sometimes I'm not caring if it's art. Sometimes it is nice to just look for a specific, like, thing.
Oh, I agree. Believe me.
But other times I do want, like, it's like, fuck, I want storyline this time. How am I going to actually find it among, like, all of these 5,000 individual files of, like, male cuck scenes?
Is that what you're flicking the bean to?
No, I just end up finding it on Pornhub.
Oh, yeah, you just end up finding it.
Okay, if you want to know, like, my super secret fetish, okay?
I mean, me and the internet definitely want to know what your super secret fetish is.
Lesbian nuns in latex. It's just hot. I don't know why.
With the crucifix dildo?
Oh, no. No, it's just, like, something about, like, oh, I must pray for forgiveness. And then, you know, they pray for forgiveness by eating each other out. I love how sacrilegious it is.
Have you ever had sex so good that you prayed for forgiveness afterwards?
Oh my gosh. No, but sometimes I feel like I should.
And there's always next week.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful part about Christianity. You just have to repent at some point.
Yeah, it's at some point down the line. Same for the Crusades. It doesn't matter what you do, just as long as you apologize after.
Exactly. Like, because what is time to God? Like, if as you get older, the passage of time goes faster. Time to God must be fucking nothing. A human lifespan must be nothing.
Exactly.
God exists. So, like, if you ask for forgiveness now or 20 years from now, that's like less than a blink to him or her or it or however God identifies today. If God actually existed, which I don't believe it does. So
the way that you said that was actually really interesting because you said, however God identifies today. So if God existed, did they change identities at some point in the middle of it? Just like, times are changing down on earth. Maybe I should change identities.
Historically, if you believe the Christian, like Judeo-Christian Bible, God doesn't necessarily show up in like form. God felt like a burning bush one day.
Exactly. You know what's actually interesting though to me? Like, I was going to say something very eloquent and then I lost it.
I'm sure it'll come back to you.
Okay, so you know how, like right into it, you know how, people believe that man was made in the image of God. A lot of our beliefs actually form God in the image of man. And I think that that's, not only pretty sexist. I mean... What is it, like when Da Vinci was creating the image of Jesus, it was actually made after his Italian gay lover, which was, that's interesting to me because everyone has this idea of who it has to be. And I feel like our desire to put an image on it is just very silly to me.
Well, yeah. And it's like, God could show up. If God actually exists and what people were, God has shown up in like 100 different things. Just
exactly.
Like everything but a golden calf.
Everything but. It's got to be either or.
Yeah. God's just like not down with golden calves. Mm-hmm. Golden bull, maybe. Golden calf, no.
Yeah.
If you look at like the Judeo-Christian shit, God is really fucking petty. Really fucking petty.
Yeah, and I still think like it's the whole thing is just wild. But yeah, it's out of everything, I think that the idea too that like God hates certain things is just so biased. The idea of that, like if he did exist,
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, oh, well, God gave you free will and could punish you for sin. But it's like, your sexual orientation isn't free will.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, why would God punish you for that? He didn't give you that choice.
Exactly. And you know what? It's so funny that that they say like God condemns certain types of sex too, because in the Bible it actually openly like encourages sex and the freedom of sex and talks about like, oh well, the angels actually enjoys when two people have sex. So it's just like, it's really wild to me, all of the other stuff.
I like to believe every time I pop, an angel gets its wings.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite one too.
That's my belief. That's my only belief when it comes to religion. Like, just helping angels get their wings.
Of course. Really, whenever we masturbate, it's just charity.
Right? Like, I'm just helping them fly.
Like, yeah.
So much flying. You have gotten so many angels their wings.
I know.
Thousands.
Millions at
Like,
this point. You know what?
Choirs in heaven are all flying because of you.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. At that point, it's just, belief just goes in so many different ways.
The fact that any belief is so fucking rigid, though, is just the really silly part.
Yeah. The way that I see it, it should just be as fluid as we are as people.
Except a lot of people aren't fucking fluid. There's a reason, like, people just saying fucking, well, that's how we've always done it, still fucking happens. Because we're really adaptive, but we are really fucking set in our ways, too. Like,
yeah.
When forced stimuli forces us to change, we change. But without that stimuli, people fucking stay pretty goddamn stagnant.
Do you know what's great about change, though? I mean, like, it's definitely happening within the porn world. Porn's had to change so much over the years. I mean, it is evolving so quickly. Because, I mean, there was the history of porn when it comes to, like, tapes and then DVDs. And now everything's online. You know, it's the history of box covers. Oh my gosh. And now everything's over Twitter, and we've had to conquer social media. And there are different avenues that we all take. And camming now is an entirely different market. And then OnlyFans now being the avenue where porn stars can create their own works and also connect with their fans more intuitively. It's absolutely amazing, and OnlyFans has now been like the thing to change people to the point where it's become more widely accepted. And I'm really excited for that, because I hope that there does become like less of a stigma against porn for that.
Well, there have definitely been a lot of people that have become sex workers in one way or another over this fucking pandemic. Mm-hmm. The amount of people like that have OnlyFans now, it's honestly kind of annoying at times. It's honestly kind of annoying, because it's just like,
yeah,
I matched with women on dating apps. It's just like, I flat out ask people, hey, I'm not hating. Are you here for an OnlyFans hustle, or like you actually looking to meet people? Mm-hmm. It's a little frustrating at fucking times. Like, I am looking to meet people, or I will edit your OnlyFans content. I'm not one or the other. Like,
you know what? That's really strange to me. I've heard a lot of people comment about like how there are different sex workers that advertise themselves on dating sites. I've actually never taken that approach. I find that like really interesting. I mean, I think it's a good way of doing it, because like if you're swiping right on that person, you find them appealing, and then you get the opportunity to see something more intimate. But it's not an establishment of a relationship, it's an advertisement, and then that just becomes a turnoff. So psychologically, I don't feel like it would be as successful of a business venture than just advertising yourself on a Reddit, like on a subreddit somewhere.
But they're probably doing that as well. And the thing about it is, like, you already have a built-in fan base. You already, because you're doing mainstream porn, have some marketing behind you.
That's true too.
If you're just, hey, I'm a bartender that's on, got into OnlyFans during the pandemic while my bar was shut down.
Oh yeah.
And found that it's been remotely lucrative. Where do you market yourself? Especially if you have no one coaching you on where to market yourself. Like, hey, I just dove into this because I heard on the internet you can make some money at this.
Oh yeah. I definitely think that you're right. seeing it from your perspective, it makes a lot of sense that maybe it's just something that the newcomers are focusing on more than more experienced like veterans in porn. And you know what? I think that at that point, maybe that is a good way of doing it. But, you know, like Twitter is also really good at getting your name out there. I know that I was privileged enough to find like another sex worker that I was following on Twitter who gave me like a list of 25 different subreddits on different, like, and each subreddit had its own niche for what fit you the best, and then what like items you could sell on it, like panties and lingerie and socks, all sorts of wild stuff, you know.
Hey, if you got them and if you want to buy them, sell them. Shit.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, like, this has also been a discussion that's happened on here multiple times.
Yeah.
There is no porn 101.
There is no porn 101. You all have to find your way. You know what, though? When I started camming, there are actually camming 101s, which is really helpful. There are actually a bunch of different resources that I found where people were able to say, hey, this is the webcam you should first get. With the very first money that I had, I bought like a Logitech C920, and then I got like some light stands for $60. And then it was like, okay, this is what I need to start out with. And then I ventured on that. But you know what? Everything else, they definitely don't tell you all of like the difficulties and the caveats that come with porn itself.
Well, porn itself, it's honestly not in porn's best interest to retain you.
Yeah.
For the cam sites, since they're making a chunk off of every cent you make, it's in their best interest to retain you and have you build a fan base. Porn doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Mainstream porn literally doesn't care if you succeed or fail, because they're going to monetize you, and eventually, unless you are in the top 1% of performers, you're going to be shot out.
Oh, yeah.
It's just what it is. And they know that, they accept that, and it's just like, that's why a lot of agencies don't really have your best interest at heart. They just want to monetize you as best as possible. It's just how it is. It's just how the business is. And that's one of the things that the OnlyFans revolution has changed, is like there are performers taking more control of their own careers via OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah.
But if you are not established in the industry and have no social circle that is in the industry, it's a lot of trial and error, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Or just being like, I'm on Instagram. Here's my link tree. Sign up for the OnlyFans.
Yeah. You know what, actually, I found a bunch of girls doing that was interesting. A lot of girls are actually advertising their OnlyFans on TikTok. That's something that I noticed has gotten really popular lately.
Which is wild to me, because fuck TikTok. Like, TikTok will fucking mute you for using profanity.
TikTok will mute you for a lot of things. So you have to talk in very indirect ways about everything. I know TikTok, when it comes to porn, they actually call it just corn.
I know. It's so silly. It's so fucking
wild.
silly.
You can't even say porn. You can only say corn. And even though now the moderators on TikTok actually know it's that corn is obviously porn, they still don't they don't do too much about it, because they're like, oh, well, they're saying corn right now, so it's okay.
Well, I think a lot of that is automated. So they don't want to have like the bots fucking blocking people.
Talking about their cornfields, and all of a sudden banned for illicit content.
Yeah, because it has to be automated, because on how fast they muted podcast clips I put up, where the couple I tried, Nathan Bronson was talking about fishing a makeup sponge out of someone on set.
Oh my gosh.
And that fucking got muted.
Wow.
Real, like within an hour or two of like it being up.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
I'm sure that a bunch of people, like, maybe it was just reports too.
No, because every other clip I've ever put up has been muted as well.
Wow. Okay. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. The TikTok is just where my gaming stuff goes now.
Yeah, that's a good avenue too.
Like, here's me playing Apex Legends. Have fun. It's family content. Come check out my other stuff where I say horrible things.
Yeah. I mean, what other content, what other games do you play?
Oh, well, currently I discovered Splitgate recently.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
It is a it's basically models itself after old school Halo, but involves the mechanics from Portal. So it's a shooter with like portals, like from Portal. So like shoot one portal, shoot another, and like teleport around the map.
That's really cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's some indie designer. It's a really well put together game for being an indie. It's a lot of fun. I play with my Twitch community on Thursday nights, which this episode drops on Thursday. So if you're hearing this, come by tonight at some point. And we play an Among Us clone called Goose Goose Duck.
Oh.
As I like to tell people, Among Us was the BlackBerry. This is the iPhone of these type of games. Because they took everything that made Among Us good and improved upon it.
Oh, wow.
And the devs are super involved in the time it took Among Us to roll out a fourth map. This game released and dropped like 2 other maps. Plus, they're constantly making updates. Like, if you'd like, it's free. Come play with us on Thursday. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Definitely think I will.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Oh, wait, what day is Thursday? Oh, wait, no, that's tomorrow. I don't think I can. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We do it every Thursday. Like it's
okay, then I can definitely schedule it.
Yeah, it's my community game night. Like my Discord, my Twitch/Discord community does it every Thursday. Some other industry folks occasionally pop in.
That's really cool. I will. I'm so sorry. I think that I reached at some point in my last sip a level of drunkenness where I was thinking about the chair beside me for some reason. And I was just like, how far is the chair from me? And I got, just very distracted.
A-okay. So, A-okay. It's actually about that time we're going to call last call on this motherfucker. We've been going at this for over 2 hours, so.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's been a wonderful time talking with you.
My pleasure as well. Where can they find you on the things before we get out of here?
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter as Leana Lovings. That's capital L's, LeanaLovings. And my OnlyFans is Leana Lovings, all lowercase. And that's the same for my Instagram.
Check out Leana. She's new. She's going to be around for a minute. She's going to make some more stuff. And as always, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. and Slayer on Facebook, twitch.tv/Matt F. and Slayer. You can find the Patreon at patreon.com/Matt Slayer. I have so many fucking plugs these days. You can find the podcast at And Now We Drink on Twitter, and Now We Drink _ on Instagram. And until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.